Hello and welcome to part 4 of the Forex Academy Fundamentals training. Today we will take a look at the Japanese economy. The Japanese economy is the second biggest in the world, or the third biggest if you count the Eurozone. It has a very old population, with some 20% of the population being over 65. There are few new babies born, while life expectancy is among the highest in the world. And so are standards of living. Japanese workers are highly educated and earn the highest average wages in the world. Japanese corporations are collective affairs, with lifetime employment programs, health benefits, and other perks. Participation and productivity are the highest in the world. As a matter of fact, Japanese workers have been known to work too much, sometimes working themselves to death, a phenomenon more commonly known as karoshi. They also save a big part of their income. Unemployment is typically low, around 4%. This enables the government to remain one of the world's smallest. 70% of GDP is generated by the services industry, while their manufacturing sector ranks among the most advanced in the world. The extensive Japanese fishing fleet is responsible for around 15% of global fisheries, and Japan's small agricultural sector is highly protected by tariff walls and other protectionist measures. Japan exports more than it imports and thus has a trade balance surplus. The country's infrastructure is the most advanced in the world, with air, rail and road travel ahead of the pack in technological respect. Japan's sea and airports are the busiest in the region. In the 1990s, Japan went through a banking crisis, which was rather similar in nature to what we're seeing happen globally right now. It has taken the country 10 years to climb out of the slump, and it is still wrestling with a ginormous public debt of over 170% of GDP. Needless to say, lessons learned from the Japanese banking crisis are being applied to today's situation. Economists are divided on the current strength of the Japanese economy, especially on how it will be able to weather the oncoming storm. One of the main problems is the financial drain that the aging population imposes on the economy, which means that the younger generation is increasingly laboring to provide for their parents or grandparents. High rents further encroach on the emancipation of young Japanese, causing them to remain in their parents' households until well in their 20s. Japanese birth rates have been dwindling for decades, and their population, currently 127 million, is expected to drop to 100 million in 2050. On November 17, 2008, Japanese government officials announced that the economy was in recession. For Forex traders, it's worth noting that the Japanese yen is the third most traded currency in the world. That the Bank of Japan, which is the Japanese central bank, has long held a 0% interest rate, prompting the emergence of the so-called carry trade, in which the low-yielding yen was traded for high-yielding currencies such as the Australian or New Zealand dollars. That it's generally accepted that the yen has long been undervalued because of this, and that its real value lies around 15% higher when valued against the dollar, and a whopping 40% higher when valued against the euro. As of November 2008, this bubble appears to have been corrected, with the USD trading around the 90 level and the euro around 120. For Forex traders, it's also worth noting that Japan's inflation has been close to 0% for the past decade or so. The same figures that matter for all economies apply to the Japanese. Inflation, unemployment, trade balance, interest rates, industrial output figures, tertiary sector figures. Just take a look at our handy event calendar on forexacademy101.com and you're all set.